is shaking. Welcome back to Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you be happy, healthy, wealthy, and get better every single day. We're going to be talking about something I am passionate about. You guys have heard me go on these, but we are breaking down sales today, and it is going to increase. Look, if you're in sales, whether you know it or not, you are. Sales is life. And all of us can improve on these skill set. And I have a guest today that is phenomenal at it. You're going to love the conversation. Bill Walsh is the owner of the Objection Box, a high-level sales development program that coaches sales professionals on what matters, overcoming objections and getting deals done. Bill has coached over 2,000 people in the last 20 months, generating just under $4 million in that time with less than $50,000 of ad spend. All purely organic and word of mouth, which he is proud of, as people don't recommend friends to shit if they don't believe in them or have a great result. You guys hang on. You're going to enjoy this conversation. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let's continue to grow this podcast. Sales is life. Sales is influence. And the conversation that I just had with Bill Walsh is 100% on that. Now, look, if you like talking about sales, fantastic. If you like talking about sales with a cool Irish guy that says the word fuck a lot, then this is the perfect conversation. No, in all seriousness, Bill is an expert at what he does. He simplifies everything when it comes to that sales process. And throughout, he gave so many tactical things that you can implement in your business and gives fascinating stories throughout. As he said, Irish folk love to tell stories, and he certainly does that. I think my favorite part is just getting into role play. And just like that, he was on it. You can go back and forth, really make it tangible and practical, something that you can apply today. And a couple of those things he mentioned are, there's only three ways that you're involved in Bill's life. You either support him, you encourage him, or you pay him. No one else. So if you support him, fantastic. If you encourage him, great. If you pay him, fantastic. But if you're not a part of that, then he's not interested. The other thing that I thought was so fascinating is he's like, look, sales is three things. What's the problem? Here's my solution. And then there's your decision. And when he broke all of these things down, it made such sense. It makes it easier to really wrap your arms around to say, I can do this. I can absolutely go just be myself authentically, which Bill talked about. We talked about assume the sale. We talked about rapport building, and if that's complete horseshit, the way that most sales folks do. We talked about doing hard things and why that's so important if you want to grow in your business, whether it's sales related or not. The ability to be comfortable in an uncomfortable environment is so important. So he mentioned he was finishing 75 hard for the second time in I think it was 4 months that he's done it. So he's just going back to back with that program that Andy Frisella's put out. But I think the main idea that you're going to get from this is, look, sales is not sleazy. Sales is something that we all do, whether you put it in that bucket or not. And when you really look at it, there was a piece that he talked about in the fact that there's honor in sales. Oftentimes used car salesmen get that bad reputation, or I think I mentioned old stodgy insurance guys with the tweed jacket get that kind of crappy label of being a sleazy sales guy. And Bill had such a different take. He's like, there's honor in providing car or transportation. There's honor in providing insurance. So when the way he looks at it, I thought was so refreshing. And he is unapologetically him, man. He is so clear on, this is who I am. I'm confident in who I am, what I do. I bring a lot of value. And he certainly did that in this podcast. So you guys make sure to share this out. It was freaking awesome. I could talk to him for hours on end about sales or life in general, being Irish, the military, sports. I mean, we covered a vast range of topics in the conversation. and he did not disappoint at all. So enjoy the show. Make sure to like and subscribe. Share this out with your people. And you guys have an amazing week. We'll talk to you soon. Bill, welcome to the show, brother. How you feeling today, man?
I am A-okay. I'm tired. There's a complaining person. I'm just coming up on the last day on 75 hard. Andy Frisella's mental kind of recalibration program. So I'm coming up on my second one in a couple of months. So I'm just tired, but I'm going.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Why did you choose to do that, and what did you get out of it? What I've done it myself, but I'm curious why you do it and what your attraction is to doing 75 hard.
Yeah, this is my second one in the matter of. So I finished one in November, started another one in January. So do you know what it is? I like routine, structure, consistency, accountability. I like to know that I'm being challenged. I spent a lot of years in military, a lot of years in high-level sport. So I like the routine. I like the structure. I like ticking off the boxes. I like to be in the zone. I like to be in the game. So that's a big thing for me. Andy Frisella is probably one of my most, I suppose, celebrated and people that I look at and people that I inspire me every day. So I like what he is about. I like what he's doing, and I like what he's done. So that's probably why. It's a selfish thing, for sure. It's a very selfish thing, 75 hard, but it's good for me. It's good for the business. It's good for my mental well-being, my health, my everything. It's good for everything.
A selfish thing? I've never heard that. Why do you say that, brother? Just because the amount of time that you're spending doing the workouts, or the fact that, why would you? I'm just curious I've never heard that take on it. So I'm just curious what that looks like for you.
It's selfish with the time that it takes to make it happen. It's selfish in the sense that, you can't go to a certain restaurant because, you have to eat certain food, and, you don't want to stay out too late with your partner or your kids or this, that, and the other stuff, because you got to get up in the morning. I've been in the gym 75 days at 6 a.m. in the morning, 7 a.m. in the morning. So it's selfish in the sense that it's all about your routine. It's selfish in the sense that everything has to be fitted in. There's no deviation. So I find that selfish in terms of my time, which is also important, as you can imagine, because you've already done it. It's important that you do it properly and you structure your days and your routine, so that's what I mean by selfish.
It's an interesting concept. I talk about this often in terms of taking care of yourself, and sometimes people consider that selfish, whereas the truth is it's extremely unselfish often when we do these routines so that we can show up as the best version of ourselves. You mentioned the military. I'm curious what you really learned from that you've applied to be so successful in the sales world. Routine obviously for sales can be extremely helpful or can actually hurt people depending on how they're doing. Let's talk about your military experience, brother, and where was that at, and what have you applied to the world that you're in today?
So I was in military for 4.5 years in Ireland. When I joined the military, there was an embargo. So they weren't hiring anybody, and we were just coming out of the 2008 recession. As I know, America got absolutely blasted, but Ireland got 10 times worse because large amount of our industry and, our, I suppose, economy was built on a house of cards. So everything got shut down. So when I went for the position as just a general soldier, there wasn't anything extreme. There was 10,000 people that went for the positions. There was only 40 places, and I got one of those 40 places. So at that time, then, you were the quote unquote golden era of personnel that was accepted in. So we were just schooled hard, quickly, fast. We were put under a tremendous amount of pressure, as most army people are, and most army people will tell you, a tremendous amount of scrutiny, a tremendous amount of rejection, a tremendous amount of pain and problem solving and issues and concerns that you had to overcome. So all of that education, knowledge, experience, transitions into sales. You're dealing with people that you don't necessarily, align with, but you still have to get the job done. You're dealing with people that, over bear on their positions, and as they say, shit rolls downhill and all of that kind of stuff. So you're dealt with a lot of issues and problems and concerns and relationships and trying to figure it out and make it work, even though you don't want to make it work, you know. So there's a lot that you can take away, and there's a lot that I personally took away from it as a young kid.
When you're dealing with people in sales, because the owner of the Objection Box, I love the name, because obviously when it comes to sales, I think so often people don't even find the real objection in the sales. They literally, they think it's one thing and they keep talking, when the truth is it's something completely else, completely different. But they haven't really isolated that.
Yeah.
To make this a simple, and we'll start with the simple, is when you look at sales, what is the biggest mistake that you see people make straight out of the gate?
The biggest mistake people make is they don't learn the right skills. Straight up. Most people avoid the hard yards. Most people avoid the hard yards in everything in life. Most people know how to be fit. Most people know how to lose weight. Most people know how to drive properly. Most people know how to pay taxes. But yet, most people are absolutely broke, overweight, and completely wrecked in life. So in sales, it's the exact same thing. Most people think that sales is an easy touch. You just turn up, you put in your hours, you make a ton of money. That's not how it works, unfortunately, in the world. If you don't provide a tremendous amount of skill and a tremendous amount of production, you're not going to get ahead. So the biggest issue that I see time and time again is most salespeople avoid the hard yards. So they do everything except actually learning the biggest skill, which is objection handling, in my honest opinion.
Why is that, man? Because it's funny, and maybe this is the minority versus the majority. We're talking about 75 hard in the beginning. That's not easy. And so is this clearly something that you like to do, hard things to keep your sword sharp? Is that kind of the idea? And if that is for you, why do people avoid it, man? We as human beings love to be challenged. Or at least that's my thinking, is like, man, I love being challenged. That drives me.
You're in the minority. You and I are in the minority. You and I are in the majority in our minority in everything that we do, because we just, and that's also important because you surround yourself with people that do hard things all the time. So your worldview is people that are challenging themselves, people that are getting after, people that are willing and wanting to go through the hard yards. But more often than not, most people don't want to do that. So the reason why people don't want to go into objection handling and learning it and getting comfortable in the uncomfortable is because they're missing the little piece of lead in their pencil. They're missing their backbone. They're missing their certainty and conviction, confidence in themselves. They haven't done the internal work. They're uncomfortable with the difficulties of people's opinions and people's differences. You know, most people avoid hard conversations in every part of their life. And what tends to happen is it stews. And that's how people break. And that's how people go absolutely bonkers. And that's how people rash out and lash out all the time. It's because they're not able to digest and work through things and be comfortable in the uncomfortable. It's a big issue with people. It's a big issue with the word, unfortunately.
Yeah, truly. I mean, if you're looking to grow, being uncomfortable is the spot to be. No question about it. But what's interesting to me, and maybe I'm in the minority, when I think of sales, brother, I think sales is life. Like, look, just like you said, 75 hard. Hey, it's a bit selfish. So wife, kids, you know what? I'm going to be away a little bit more. I'm going to focus on my health a little bit more. You're selling them on why you're doing this. Correct. So it's not like, and it's interesting to me, Bill, because so often when you say the word sales, some people repel. Some people are like, I don't like sales. And they think of, I don't know, the used car salesman or the insurance guy with the tweed jacket, those are the like bad sales things. But when I think of sales, brother, I think sales is life. Like, look, I'm going to go golfing. When I'm telling my wife, I'm selling her on why I need to go golf. When she's going with her girlfriends, she's selling me on why she needs to go out for dinner. Am I am I crazy, or is that how you see the world as well? That life is sales, and why do we not embrace it more?
It's all influence. Everything is influence. Influence to do what you want, influence to do what you don't want to do, like your kids, influencing you to allow them to eat chocolate at 9 o'clock in the morning, staying up late. Like everything is influence and everything is communication and everything is, figuring out problems and figuring out solutions and staying in the minutia until you actually get to where you want to go. So everything is sales in the world. And I've been very fortunate. I've been schooled since I've been 0 all the way up to 31 years of age. Everything I've done has been about people and problems and solutions and outcomes and inputs. And, we've had a pub in Ireland for all of our life. So I've learned to be in conversations and to make shit happen and to make things work and to go through things. So I think a lot of people, I also think what people have this perceived idea of what sales is, it's not really fair. There's a lot of honor in being a used car salesman. There's a lot of honor in insurance. There's a lot of honor in figuring out problems. There's a lot of honor in anything that we do in sales, that you're trying to benefit and help somebody else live a better life. So I think a lot of car salesmen, they get the bad rub of the green with that one, and especially the insurance people. Why do we need insurance? We want to protect. Why do we want a new car? So we want to be able to provide for our families. So I think there's a lot of honor in sales. There's a lot of honor in helping people. So people's perception is always negative because people don't make the fundamental decision that they want to do something. They always think that someone tricked them in, or someone, twisted their arm, or whatever it may be. If you operate sales with ethics and responsibility, you should always have honor in it, in my opinion.
I want you guys to see how he flipped that so quickly on finding what the good was in having a car. The good in why you have life insurance in this case is to take care of your family. And that's what is so interesting is, again, maybe it's the sales guys that are making them feel this way, or maybe they're just looking at it the wrong way. I'm curious, Bill, when you look at the most successful salespeople out there, when you're like, those are superstars walking by, what do they do differently, brother, than those that are really struggling? Because we see it all the time, right? Your bottom or your top 20% is going to do almost 80 to 90% of the production.
Yeah.
And those other 80% are struggling. And I've been in sales for, gosh, man, we're going on 2.5 decades. So, yes. I mean, we've seen a lot of it, but man, why can't that other 80% rise to the top? Because there's plenty of room. Look, it's abundant, brother. There's no amount of shortage of sales to be had.
No.
What is the difference between that 20% that's crushing it and the 80% that's not?
It's kind of like the question of why is LeBron James so great and the rest of them are so crap? It's like they all know how to play basketball. They all know how to do the work. They all know, what it requires. But I think a lot of people just aren't willing to do what it takes. I say this to my higher level guys and students all the time. Okay, there's 3 things that I always tell them. You got to outlearn, you got to outwork, and you got to outlast everybody. If you do those 3 things, it's the success. That's the key. That's it. Most people don't want to do that because once they understand what it actually takes to outlearn, how much time they have to put into outwork, and how long they have to wait till they get the outcome in terms of outlasting, they don't want to do it. So that's why it's always, that's why you'll always have mavericks, as I call them. Someone that can come in, any offer, can sell it. And I've trained a tremendous amount of them. There's something that I think a lot of great salespeople, and you may be able to tell me different because you have far more experience than I think a lot of great salespeople have that chip on their shoulder that they're going to fuck you and I'm going to show you what. And they have something in them that's driving them, which is more often than not pain and a level of hurt that makes them want to go out and fucking take on the world. I know I have it. And I think a lot of the people that I have coached to go to 20, 30, 40, 50K a month in complete commissions have that as well. So it's a big thing, I think.
Yeah, clearly have an incentive to do more, to outlearn, to outwork. And I'm sorry, I didn't write down the third one, but the third one that you talked about.
Outlast, yeah.
Outlast, thank you. Yeah, you need to have that incentive, that why, if you will. And yeah. I think that's often, look, money can only drive people so far.
Correct.
For me, it was not money at all. I'll be very, if you ever want to work with me on sales, it's recognition at the end of the day. Yep. I can call it whatever I think. It's not money. It's every contest I ever won. It wasn't about the prize. It was about what I was going to receive in terms of recognition.
Yep.
And by the way, I'm not alone.
No.
Like most people, they want that recognition, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so interesting. How do you find that pain point when you're working with the sales guys that are succeeding, sales guys and gals? How do you figure out what their incentive is to drive them? Because clearly you're helping people grow all the time.
Yeah.
What's your key to really pull that out? Because I think anybody listening to this, we all, when we're leading, you said, influence, which is true. Leadership is influence, in my opinion. So when you said that, I was like, well, clearly he's leading people. He's influencing people to do better. How are you finding that to pull it out of them, Bill?
Such a powerful question. And it comes down to open communication and asking hard questions. Most people don't know what's driving them. Once you get over the basis of what your life needs, meaning you need food, you need shelter, you need comfort, you need certainty, you need a warm bed at night, you need, a roof over your head. Once those are kind of met, what's the difference between the person that keeps going and going and going and the person that just stops? And a big thing for me is figuring out what's the driver. Is it status? Is it ego? Is it a chip on the shoulder? Is it a level of wealth that will ultimately shape the rest of their family's history? So you got to know which is going to push them, but you also got to know what's going to motivate them. Some people like a kick in the ass. Some people like an arm around their shoulder. Some people like to be called out in public because it embarrasses them and it drives them to never get embarrassed again in public. Some people need a one-to-one. Some people need to be fired. Some people need to be encouraged. So it's all down to communication, but it's all down to body reading, in my opinion, and people reading. And it's a very, very hard skill to do. It's a very, very hard skill to master.
Yeah, leaders, I want you to hear that because it's not a one size fits all. It just isn't. And again, I'll use myself as an example. What drove me is you telling me what I cannot do.
Yeah.
It's not the pat on the back. I'm actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the same way.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, brother. When people tell me I can't do something, like don't touch the hot stove, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to touch that fucking stove, man, every day of the week. Maybe it's the Irish that we both have that's just like defiant.
Yeah. It's look, I always call it, look, I'm a proud Irishman. You won't get a more proud Irishman than me. I got pasty white skin. I got blotched red all over my face when I get angry. I got ginger hair. I'm in your face. I got a loud accent, and I'm rootless when I want to be rootless. And it's so funny what you just said. Like, I could have 100 people pat me on the back. The one person that, says, I don't think it was that good. You're the one. I'll forget 99% of it and I'll focus on the one. And that 1% will turn me from pleasant to fucking rootless in literally 2 seconds. And I will literally go to town. And I will make sure that person never gets to say that again.
I'm curious if, Bill, the way you are here as you are as a sales guy, or do you have almost an alter ego in these moments? No. And I'm curious because I've heard people do both. For me, JM is JM is JM. That's just, look, I don't really change.
No.
What does that look like for you, brother?
What you see is what you get. My heart is on the sleeve, and most people that will ever meet me in life will know exactly what it is. And I don't sugarcoat it. I don't pretend. I don't fabricate it. And I don't go to work with makeup on and I take it off when I come home. What you see is what you get day in, day out, 24/7, 365. This is it. You like it, you love it, you hate it, you wonder, you want to ride it into the sunset. Great, wonderful, good for you. I don't really give a fuck. I am what I am, I do what I do, and I achieve what I achieve. And if you like it, fantastic. If you don't, fuck off. That's it. That's the game. That's where I'm at. And I've earned the right to be able to tell people to fuck off if I want. So that's where I am, and that's where I do, and that's where I'm all about.
Don't you think that's one of the big mistakes people have, though, is where they think they are for everyone? Because isn't the truth, you're not everyone's. Mother Teresa, there was a group of people that didn't like her, thought she sucked, which is crazy, but it is what it is. So trying to think that you're going to accommodate everyone, it's fool's gold.
No, you accommodate nobody. I had a mentor one time, and he said to me, I was 21, 22 years at the time, and he was a big fitness professional in the UK at the time. And he sat us all down one day in a private setting, and he said, you could be the best person in the world. You could rescue a cat from a burning building, and someone out there will still think you're a prick for rescuing the cat and not allowing the cat to figure it out for himself. So once I learned that at 21, 22 years of age, I stopped, cut people out of my life. I always tell people there's three things. You support me, you encourage me, or you pay me. And if you don't do one of those three things, you ain't around me. That's it. You support me, you encourage me, you pay me. If you don't do those three things, you ain't around it. So I live my life like that, and that's the key. And if you don't do one of those three buckets, you're not in it. That's just the way it is.
It's pretty good, brother. You and I have some similarities. You go down the path of threes. There's clearly something there where you're like, these are the three things. I love it. I want to go through almost like a sales. I'm going to say some words, and I'm just curious to get your thoughts on it.
Go for it.
Rapport.
Bullshit.
Relatability.
Important.
Connection.
Extremely important.
Assume the sale.
Horseshit.
Interesting. I want to dive into that because I made a career on assume the sale.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to figure out.
It depends on what you mean now by assuming the sale. You mean like you come to the end of the call and you just perceive that the sale is there, or like you assume the sale that you don't actually do any of the work and you just think someone's going to buy just because you turned up? And that's really important because most people will hear assume the sale, and then that means that like it has many differentiating factors for most people. So let me know what you mean, and then I can answer it again.
Yeah, the first one, everything I do in life is assumption, right? Here's what we're going to do today, Bill. Just like we started off air. Here's what we're going to do today. I'm assuming everything that you're in line with it.
Correct.
I don't say, hey, Bill, would you like to have a podcast today? Would you like it to look like this? That's what I mean. So I'm talking about the first one.
Yeah, completely and understandable. Yes, and I'll give you an example of how I would actually frame the end of the call so you can see exactly how I assume things. So I would say, JM, I don't have a whole lot more to go over with you. If you're willing or wanting, let's actually get you set up so we can get you to outcome that you wanted here today, which is A, B, and C. Happy enough? Cool. In terms of moving forward, do you want to use a debit or credit, or what way do you want to go about this? And then that's it. Because then it's like, I've done my job, you've done your job, you've admitted that ultimately what I'm doing here can get you to where you want to go. I've given you the outcome. What's left is we're just moving. That's it. I don't ask, do you feel like we can, should, would, possibly, maybe get you X, Y, Z? No. I'm moving through it. It's can and will, and then I'm off. That's it. So yes, assuming the sale there, A star.
Yeah, so I hope you guys heard that, and maybe I'll have them repeat it because it really is not natural speak. So we're clear. We're taught to ask a question, then you get a response. Very much how I'm doing the interview. But when you do assume the sale, as he did, would you prefer a debit or a credit card? This is fantastic. He knows that whatever he's selling is the right thing for them. He's provided this value. So we have to start there, right? You have to believe in your product. Yeah. He's providing value to you. So he's not going to say, would you like to move forward? Or on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? Like, to me, Bill, and I'm curious if there are things that you can use to I don't know how you call it. You hear the objection handlers and you have scripts and you have all this stuff. But the truth is you're just connecting with another person. You see the value, they need to move forward. Yeah. That's kind of been the philosophy. But am I simplifying that too much, brother? Or what's the system that you really utilize?
There's three things. There's three things that sales to me. Again, it's funny that you picked up on the three. This is it, right? Your problem, my solution, your decision. That's it. That's fucking sales 101. And people want to complicate it and talk about bullshit and tonality here and 5 different languages and, rapport building and building a connection and driving gaps and this, that, and the other stuff. Sales is 3 fucking things. Your problem, my solution, your decision. That's it.
Well, the reason it's 3, look, again, I imagine you've done a lot of studying of various books and look, sales and marketing. After 3, you have diminishing returns.
Correct.
So for instance, if Bill and I are sitting in a room and I'm offering him 17 different things, he's not moving forward, guys. He is analysis paralysis, like he is stuck. And by the way, he should be. Yeah. Gave you way too much.
Yeah.
we could argue almost in this scenario, you should have one or the other, debit or credit card,
Yeah,
which is fantastic. But if you go past 3,
you're finished.
our brains literally shut down and we have diminishing return. That's why, brother.
Yeah. When you go to a restaurant, JM, what's on the menu? Meat, fish, vegetarian. It's everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's 3s and less. 3 and less. That's it. If you want to grow a business and you want to make it really, really profitable, sales, marketing, fulfillment. That's it. So go to a restaurant you want to eat, it's meat, fish, or vegetarian. That's it. So it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's 3 options or less that really build and grow.
I want to talk about the restaurant since you brought it up, and here's why. Some of the best salespeople out there operate in restaurants, in my opinion. The good ones, anyway. But it comes down to asking questions. Do you find that to be the case as well? And I can give you an example. I'm from Montana. I'm steak and potatoes guy, man. That's what I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
But if you ask, hey, would you like a salad? 9 times out of 10, I say yes. You know why, Bill? Because you know what? I probably should have a salad. Now, I am a carnivore currently, so I probably would say no to the salad. But 90% of the time prior to me being a carnivore, if you said, would you like a salad today? That extra $5 to $10, whatever it is, I say yes, because you know what? You offered it to me.
Yeah.
How can we apply that outside of the restaurant, brother? Do you see where people aren't offering some of these things, some of these amazing services they have, but instead they're like, well, we're just going to focus on this one thing that you called about?
It's funny, actually, you said that. I just bought a new MacBook there yesterday because my one just decided to shit the bed. And I go through Apple and I go through 4 pages of upsells. And I was like, this is it. This is why we're doing it. And it's really important that you just said there. It's about, I want something really, really big, which was the MacBook, cost $1,000 or whatever it may be. And then it's the add-on. And I went through 3 variations of 3 different pages on add-ons. And before I knew it, I got to the end and I think I got like an express delivery or I got a standard delivery. So I got a 4th decision to make on top of it. Boom, 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 boom. I think a lot of salespeople are afraid to keep asking, and they get all jittery because they made a sale. But there's multiple sales: upsells, cross-sells, downsells, referrals. There's lots. And it's just about being open and being confident enough in yourself to be able to keep going. And a big thing, JM, as you already know, what's the hardest thing to get over in sales?
The hardest thing to get over, probably just making the calls for most people, I think. I don't know.
It's rejection, isn't it? It's rejection. Like you know what I mean? Like what is sales? Sales is how fast you can get through rejection without it affecting the rest of your day. That's it. And as you said, like the thought of even picking up the call. But the reason why people don't want to pick up the call is they don't want to get rejected. You know what I mean? So the faster you get through and the faster you get over rejection, the faster you're going to make a ton of money in sales and anything in life. Even picking up new girls or new boys or like new cars or whatever it may be. If you hear the word no, and I hate this expression, the more no's you get, the faster you're going to get to yes. I don't like that because it's not right. There's a lot wrong in it. But what I would say to people is the faster you hear no, the faster you're going to get okay with hearing no. And it's not going to shut you down. And that's important in sales, especially if you're starting off. That's why a lot of people don't want to go through the objections, because that's hard. The rejection is the hard part of sales. If rejection was the best part of sales, how much money would people make?
They'd be great at it. I want to ask you, because no's are going to happen. Obviously, they're going to happen more often than not in the majority of sales.
Yeah.
So maybe we are starting to really isolate, like, look, those that deal with rejection, or it's like water off a duck's back for them. Maybe those are the ones that do succeed the best. I'm curious though. I want to talk about baggage or momentum going into each call.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're very keen on routines. That's important to you. Yeah. I was the same way. I had a certain trigger that always allowed me to get to my best self immediately before every single sales appointment. Because the truth is, sometimes when I did get told no, especially when I know I should have been able to help this person, you can bring that into the next appointment and not perform at your best. Do you have a specific routine that you teach or that you've utilized to show up as the best Bill at every appointment?
You're never going to show up the best at every appointment. And the idea of perfection in anything in life is a fucking flawed reality. So I want people to know that, because that's really, really important. I always tell people, look, did you turn up and did you try and help that person as best as you possibly can in the actual hour that you spent in? Yes. I always tell people at the end of the call, JM, there's only 4 things that will ever happen. So I've changed it from 3 to 4. But this is my this is my 4 that will happen at every end of every call. And it goes like this: yes, no, fuck you, hang up. That's it. They'll say yes, they'll say no, they'll tell you to go fuck yourself, or they'll just hang up on you. That's it. Those are the only 4 things that can happen on the end of a call. So once you get over that, hesitation, then everything else becomes okay. And to answer your question without going too far off the beaten track, what I would say to people is, if you're going on a bad run or you've gone into a bad rut, I always tell people, go to where you were in a good rut. Go to when you were hot. This is why it's really important to record your calls. And a great thing that I would do sometimes if I needed to is, in the gym, I would listen to my objection handling. I would listen to when I actually helped a person overcome themselves. I could actually listen and hear and feel when the penny dropped for that person, that they needed to do it and they were willing to do it. And you can hear them building the courage up. I would listen to those calls over and over and over again, because that gives you positivity, it gives you endorphins, and it gives you the reality of that you are what you are, and you know that you can help people. So that's a big tip for people.
It's a huge tip for people, no doubt about it. Whether it's reaching out to clients that love you to make you get that confidence going again, hearing that call that worked. These are really good. I got to go back to your 4, though. Yes, no, fuck you, hang up.
Yeah.
Bill, there's no maybe. There's no, I need to talk to my wife about it. Where did those go, man? Like, come on. These are happening all the time, right?
Those are yeses, and I'll tell you why. So if you overcome an objection and you get a down payment, or you get somebody committed, let's say you got their profile set up, or you got, $1. I tell people, I actually tell my salespeople to get $1 off somebody. You're going to say to yourself, what the fuck would I want with $1? I don't actually want the $1. I want the person to show me that they're committed to doing something. So that's a yes. The no is completely, we're not doing it. I've objection handled you hard and you're telling me no. The fuck you is, I'm going to keep objection handling over and over and over again. I'm going to keep going until the person basically tells me to fuck off. The hang up is the exact same thing. We're going to keep going, because I'm always doing 2 things on a call. I'm either earning or learning. And then the 4th one for me is then the hang up. And then it's like, we can't keep going around this. I'm not going to stop, and you're just going to hang up and you're going to leave. That's okay. And I always tell people, like, how far, like, what car do you have, JM? What car do you drive?
Right now I drive a Tesla.
Tesla. Okay. How fast does it go?
Fast, man. Like, I don't know. It's like 120 if I push it, I guess.
Yeah. But how do you know?
Well, because I've done it.
Well, how far do you, so it's the same thing on a sales call. How far do you know to go? People always come to me and they say to me, how far can I push this? How far can I go? How far can I actually go? The only way you're going to know is you redline the bitch. Run it all the way. Run it all the way until you get one of those 4. And then you know. Because now you know how far you can go and how far you have left and how far you can come back. I'd rather a person, be super aggressive and super on it and super willing and super hungry than somebody that's too timid. Because that person that's too timid on the road will make more crashes than the person that's going to go for it. Correct?
Oh, 100%. I want to address a couple things, because if people are listening, this is where I see people anxiety spikes. They're like, I can't take that many no's, Bill. I can't take the objections till they hang up.
Yeah.
That I'm going to piss people off.
I know.
Correct. The reason I'm saying this is I want them to realize something. One thing that when Bill is I've never worked with Bill. I've never seen him do a sales call, but I know this immediately by what he just said. He isn't thinking about himself.
No.
He is thinking about the product or the service that he's providing. This is one of the biggest tips that you'll get in sales. And I'll let Bill affirm if I'm correct or if I'm full of shit. Mm-hmm. When he's doing these objection handlers, when he is taking it to where they say they hang up or say fuck you, he's able to do that because he's not focused on him. He's
No.
not in his head thinking about what he's thinking, how this feels. Is that true, Bill? Or
I always tell people there's one key aspect of objection handling, and that's confirmation that what you do works. And I always say this. So let's say you gave me an objection, James, like give me a think about it objection, whatever it may be.
you know what, Bill? I need to think about this. I need to sit with my wife and make sure this is the right thing for us.
Okay, cool. So you gave me actually 2 smoke screens, and we'll break down objections in a second if you want. But the first thing you gave me was a smoke screen, which is a think about it. And then you doubled down. See, what you did there, right, is you gave me the first smoke screen. You didn't actually believe the first smoke screen, so you gave me another one to validate your point. So you said, think about it and then a partner. So that means to me, I know it's full of shit. So the first thing I need to do is I just need to double down on this. And I just say something like this. Yeah, no, look, I can definitely respect that you want to take a moment to go away and think about it and actually speak to your wife. Before you do go and do that, can I just ask, in terms of what we've gone through today, do you honestly believe that it actually can get you to where you want to go? Or like, how do you feel about it?
No, I definitely see value in what you're providing, Bill. I need to make sure it's the right fit for us both.
Okay, so what I just did there is I got a half confirmation. I will have to go back and double bind that because it's like too loose. So I will go back and I will double bind that. Once I get that, that's a full confirmation that what I do works, but there's other, I suppose, things at play, whether that's fear, anxiety, money, partner. There's 5 objections in the market, Jane. Think about it: partner, money, fear, logistics. Those are the 5. So you gave me the first 2 smoke screens. Now you gave me the other one, which is probably going to be a money concern. Now money is going to split in 2 ways. It's going to go money, fear, money, logistics. From what you've just said in about 6 words, I know I'm going to money, fear. From that 6 words that you just gave me. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to get that confirmation. Once I get that confirmation, that you basically telling me, but I got to get a stronger confirmation than I would have if we were just actually doing that properly. But once I get that strong confirmation, that's you fundamentally telling me, I believe that what you do works and I want you to objection handle me until you give me one of those 4. That's it. That's my point. That's in my head. Once I get that solid confirmation, that's where I'm going for.
So I want you guys to realize what he's done. He's isolated it down to things that he can now, he knows exactly what to do at this point. Otherwise, you're sitting there grasping at straws, thinking it's all this stuff. No, he isolated it down, calms everything down. He also did a form of feel, felt, found. I completely understand you feeling that way, right? And he literally made me feel okay about the fact that I'm giving him the no. There's a lot of power in it. Holy cow, we're ripping through this. I have to ask you on 2 other main things because you and I could do sales role play for days.
Yeah, days.
Role play. How important is it? How much do you subscribe or have your people role play continuously before they even hop on the phone, go on an appointment?
So I'll actually just give you the stats of what we do. So I have an elite mentorship program and we got the family program. So the elite program, those guys have access to over 20 hours of education a week. That means like coaching, unstuck calls where I actually break down the calls and show them exactly what to do. And most guys come in and they actually go make paid in fulls literally after because they just do exactly what we just did with you there. And then they role play and they do coaching calls on top of it. So they get 20 hours of access of education every single week. Now, the family group, they get 6 hours of education. Okay. So for me, it's really important. Role playing is really important. Okay. Absolutely, really fucking important. If you want to be the best at anything, you can't just turn up at the weekend and just play. It doesn't work. You look at Patrick Mahomes, okay, or Travis Kelce, because those guys are in the news at the moment. They didn't just turn up, that weekend in Las Vegas and just rock and roll and they won the Super Bowl. Those guys have been practicing for years and weeks and days and seconds and minutes, whatever you want to call it, for their entire life. Okay, and that's what it takes. It takes repetitive education, knowledge, training, consistency. Bruce Lee said one thing, I think it's Bruce Lee. He said, I fear the man that has practiced one kick 10,000 times, more so than the man that has practiced 10,000 kicks one time.
Yeah. Strong. you guys, you notice he's used sports analogies, and there's a reason why, because we can quantitate what they've done. We can see the championships. He's mentioned LeBron, he's mentioned Mahomes, Kelsey, and the point that he clearly made that I love is these guys are putting in reps. Their role play is on the practice field all day long. They do it hour after hour after hour. Make sure you're doing the same for yourself. If you're struggling with your sales, either find a Bill himself, a group, find your partner next door and just work on it. You will get better just practicing. And I know that sounds so basic, but man, Bill, you the one thing that just drives me nuts is how often we have to say that.
But it is basic. Like, people are always looking for the new shiny thing, James, all the time. It's like, yeah, but it's the new thing, it's the new thing, it's the new thing. And what tends to happen all the time is they avoid the hard yard. If you actually just get into the hard yards and you actually just get comfortable by doing it, you actually just be repetitive and you have some element of resilience, and it goes all the way back to doing 75 hard. I don't want to train twice a day. Like, I'm less than 7% body fat. It's like hard to train. It's like no fat on me, but I do it because it's hard. I'm running a multi-million pound business, taking it for 4 million cash in less than 20 months with 50 grand in ads. Like, it's hard. It's like full on, you know? But that's the choice. That's the joy in it. That's the choice. You can have a hard life, or you can have an easy life, which will actually be a hard life eventually. So it's like, I'm wanting hard because I want easy. I'm 31 years of age. I got another 40 years of this. Like, my kids, my grandkids, they'll never, ever, ever have to deal with what we did. Their life will be completely changed because I did that. And that's the generational wealth. That's the generational, legacy. So it's like, it comes down to, what do you want? Do you want to make money? Do you want to help a lot of people? If you do, there's only a certain amount of things you need to figure out in sales. I became a millionaire in less than 2 years because I studied objections. Think about it, parent and money, fear, logistics. I can do those in 55 different languages if I wanted to. Well, I can't, I'm only joking. But what I mean is that I repeated those 5 hooks, frameworks, like, more often than most people that I coach have ever done. So what I mean by all of this is that the work that you put in will give you the output. But most people want to put 10% in and get 100 out. I want to put 100 in and get 1% out every day. 100 in, 100 in and 100 in and 1. And I always tell people, lots of analogies, and kind of Irish people are storytellers, so we're visualizers. I always tell people, like, there's a weighing scales of rice on one side. There's a bag of rice, and on the other side there's nothing. But every day, if I take a piece of rice off the big bag and I put it on the scale with nothing, more often than not, James, if I consistently do that day after day after day after day, month and year after, all the time, what will tend to happen with that bag of rice?
I mean, look, it's compound effect, right?
Compound effect, correct. It's inching the bitch forward, as I call it, every day to my guys, and it just tips. And once it tips, it tips. It won't ever go back unless you make it go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, delaying gratification. Dude didn't just achieve 7% body fat by, not going to work out and doing these things. And what you're talking about is having some discipline, commitment, and really seeing it through. I have to ask one more specific to sales, because I think, I built my businesses off the word I'm about to say.
Okay.
And to me, it's the easiest way. And I know you grew your business similarly based on the intro that I did. Referrals, brother.
Yep.
What does that look like? Do you have a specific system? How do you go about it? Because literally, I built my 3 companies that I sold on this concept. And to me, it's the lowest hanging fruit. And yet, again, the majority don't do it.
It's a really, really hard concept. And one thing that we can always do better at, one thing that we're always trying to improve on, is a referral process. I have found with high ticket closers, sales professionals, whatever we want to call them, don't want to share. Referrals for me are the best business, and always have been. I built a business pretty much on case studies, testimonials, referrals, goodwill, and people know my name and actually pushing me. So pretty much most of my business has been organic, which you have to be very fucking good at what you do to be able to build a business purely on organic. And for me, referrals has always been the hardest thing to figure out and to kind of really make sure that we do. Now, don't get me wrong, we do a tremendous amount of business with referrals and people telling more people about us and stuff like that, which I'm absolutely privileged to have. But I've always felt that salespeople are reluctant to share with other salespeople, and I don't know why. And it's an internal battle that needs to go on with the person. Now, I'll give you this bit of an analogy. You and I are best friends, okay? You have a beautiful house in Florida. I have a beautiful house in Florida. I get a person out to build a brand new custom pool. You want to go and build a brand new custom pool. Instantly, what am I going to do? Go and speak to my fella Sam. Salespeople don't want to share. It's an interesting concept, you know. So it's the only industry that I know where salespeople don't want to go ahead and share. It's super interesting, and it comes from an internal fear. It's in a fear of my position. It's in a fear of, you know, if I show Patrick, you know, if Patrick Mahomes shows me how to beat Patrick Mahomes, he ain't going to do it, is he? He isn't going to do it to the extent that he knows he can go and get challenged and get beat. You know what I mean? So it's a very interesting concept. But yes, I absolutely believe in referrals.
It is. Now, I just so we can push the sales guys to be better, because that's just scarcity.
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes will show you right now what it is to beat him, because it'll make him better.
It will.
That's the whole thing.
But that's not being Patrick. Patrick has that because he is number one. But that's most people fear that. Most people don't have that internal belief that they are number one. They just think that they're number one for a moment. That's the difference. Because Patrick Mahomes has fought his entire life to be where he is today. Salespeople are in their careers less than 2 years more often than not when I get them. So they haven't done internal work. They haven't built that residual kind of confidence in themselves. I'll tell you, like for me, JM, when I started making like fuck you money, I was like scared shitless. I didn't tell anybody for 12 months. I was so afraid of it. I spent 7 years building a fitness business, being in the military for 4.5 years. Like I would make more in a week than I used to make in the military in a year. I scared shitless. And it's only since maybe 18 months ago where I'm like, do you know what? I am what I am. And this is the level now. This is what it is, my friends. This is where I'm at, motherfuckers. And this is me, comfortable. So it takes a long time to get comfortable with making money and to be able to have a lot of money. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't have that internal belief and shift, then it's damaging, unfortunately. And it's scarcity. I was so scared. You would not believe it. Wouldn't even tell my partner how much money we were making.
Well, welcome to having true freedom, brother, because you can see it. You don't have a lot of weight on your shoulders. You can see the freedom in who you are. This has been fascinating, brother. I love sales. I love what you do.
I appreciate
it. I want my listeners that there's a ton of people that, look, life is sales. If they want to connect with you, Bill, where's the best place for them to find you online, see what the heck you're up to?
Yeah, so there's two big avenues. Number one, we have our free Facebook community, which is called, and it's not that, extravagant, it's called the Objection Box community on Facebook. There's just under 10,000 people that are inside there. And, we go live a couple of times a week in there. We give trainings and coaching and all that kind of stuff. What I've actually got the team to also do, JM, is we built out an entire 10-step challenge for people. So they come in, we give them a couple of the objections, we show them what to do and how to do it. It's roughly anywhere from 7 to 10 days to complete it. I guarantee your listeners, my listeners, whoever wants to go through it, you will improve your sales no end. So if you want it, just message me on Facebook challenge or message me on Instagram, which is at the Bill Walsh official. Just message me the word challenge and I'll get you a link completely free. I don't want anything. All I want is reciprocity. Is you go through it, you make a ton of money. All I want you to do is say thanks. That's it.
Take advantage of it, you guys. I mean, what do you have to lose? 7 to 10 days to literally, it could change your life. And I don't mean that like a cliche. It literally can. The skills he's talking about, I promise you, they are life altering.
They changed my life. When I walked into sales in January 2021, I was at zero. Zilch, nada. So it is now the 21st of March, 2024. Life has never been the same. So it can move pretty quickly if you have the right skills.
That's beautiful. I love it, brother. Thank you for being here, man. I literally, I could do this for days, man. I love sales. It is a passion of mine. And congrats on your success, brother. It's well-deserved, and you certainly have earned it, which is amazing. So thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate you having me. So thank you.
You guys go check it out. Go check out his the Facebook community. He literally take the challenge. You have nothing to lose. I implore, please go do it. Like and subscribe to the show, you guys. Life is sales, so everyone that you see can benefit from this conversation, and you get to hear a really cool Irish dude with a cool accent the whole time, which is awesome. It's something about the way he says "fuck." It just sounds better. But anyway, until next time, you guys. I appreciate you all so much. We'll talk soon.